Welcome to another video, and today I'm gonna give you 3 tips for every Valorant map. Every map has some weak spots, good spots and some sneaky tricks you could abuse. The more you know, the more chance you will win, so let's stop the talking and start the video. Let's start this video on Haven because there's a cool way how you could view this map. When I look at this map, and especially on the T side, I always draw a line in the middle through the 2 entrances on A, B, Garage and C. And once you get past that line, the enemies probably not expect you there. So when you are playing the lurker role, I would recommend to try to get past that line while your teammates are pushing on another side. Like in this round, my teammates were A, so a lot of enemies were also on A side, and that was the moment where I found a way to break the line. After this kill, I of course called that my teammates should rotate. Chamber did this. And we got an easy plant on C. About C, the second tip is on C long. On the defender side, if you are alone and you don't have a sniper, don't stand over here and peek all the way into C long. Often when the enemies are peeking C long, they don't peek alone, but they peek with their team. And then you are in a disadvantage, my friends. So what I would say, hold C from here, and when the enemies are using util, throw your util at the entrance. Or alternatively, of course, when you have a flash or something, then you can peek C long. And some agents who can go away instantly like Chamber and Jet. But don't peek without abilities. Oh! Nice. And the last tip on Haven, this is a quick one. Don't ever push B without any utility. If your smoker dies, for example, I would recommend to either go to C side or A side, but don't go B. You need that util on this side. Enemies can rotate to B really quickly, and it's pretty open out there. About open maps, now let's go to Breeze, my friends. According to a very accurate source, the comment section, Breeze is the least favorite map under the Valorant community. But here are some tips if you're struggling on this map. First one, drop the Phantom. I know some people really love the Phantom. I also pick it up way more often, but on this map, no, my friends. Vandal, way better. The reason for this is simple. On long range, the Phantom doesn't insta-kill headshot and the Vandal does insta-kill headshot. And on a map where you only have long range fights, this difference is pretty significant. Now let's talk about the agents. There are 2 agents that really excel on this map. I'm talking about Harbor and Viper. As we all know, smokes are very important if you want to lock down sites and get control over areas of the map. But sadly, because Breeze is so wide, sometimes smokes are not good enough. And that's where the E ability, the walls of these agents comes in. They are so good on Breeze, my friends. And especially Viper, because she can also use the post-plant lineups. Tons of lineup possibilities on Breeze. And the last tip on this map is about Hall. If you want to have a good defense, it's recommended to have 2 people on A, 2 players on B, and then 1 on middle. You don't really have enough players to hold Hall. So one tip for everyone, use your abilities to hold this annoying spot. Things like a Chamber, Killjoy or Cypher Trap, or even a Sage Wall. An easy peasy win on Breeze for you. Now let's go to the next map, Pearl. Let's start with Belong, because there's something about this part of the map. Most of the time, Belong is very awkward to play. It's a little too long to push in one go. You have to hold it from very strange angles, and it's just a very strange place to be, in my opinion at least. So here are some tips, my friends. First of all, if you want to push B with your team, always communicate if you want to go for a full push or a fake. Because my friends, especially on this spot, once your util is over, you sadly can't push this anymore. So communicate with your team and don't stand still at the pillar, because that's what a lot of teams doing and die one by one. Like in this round, whoopsie.
Oh, okay.
Last player standing.
The second tip about Pearl is that it's so easy to catch enemies rotating. The middle on Pearl is connected to everything, so it's pretty overpowered. You could easily go for a flank, wait for the enemies till they rotate, or of course push yourself to get behind them. Get control over mid and you could be anywhere on the map. And the last thing about Pearl, there are so many red spots. So be careful of them, there could always be a sneaky player hiding. Whoa, he is here! But on the other hand, don't forget to use the red spots so now and then. Now let's talk about Fracture. Because of the layout, this might be a very complicated map for some people. But this is what you have to know. First of all, you have to understand that when you stand in the middle part on the defender side, you could easily rotate. But if you stand on the outer part, in Nest for example, rotating actually takes a lot of time. Use this knowledge to your advantage. When you feel that you play against a team that likes to fake push a lot, make sure to stand a bit in the middle part for example. Now let's talk about the attacker side. A mistake that a lot of people are making is going with 5 people to one side, wait for a bit and then rotate with 5 people to the other side. Especially on this map, this is not the way to go. Because of course, like we said before, the defender side rotates way faster. It's also important to have one lurker on the other side. He just needs to be silent, listen to the steps and say to their team, yo, the enemies are now rotating, so come to this side. And he's the one that cuts off the enemies when they try to rotate back. This round for example, my team with the spike made a lot of sound on B, but me and Yoru were on the other side. Once we heard the enemies rotating, we decided to push and free A for us. And the last tip is actually so simple. When you push A, 9 out of 10 times this is smoked or walled. So stop planting the spike over here. Walk like one step further to this corner. It's safer to plant and it's way easier to hold in the post plant. Now let's go to a map with the same temperature as my room, Icebox. This map is kinda the opposite of Fracture because rotating on the defender side takes a lot of time. So the first tip on this map, standing behind the yellow box, is actually not very good. If you stand over here and then your teammates are calling that the enemies are pushing A, it's almost guaranteed that you'll be too late to help out your team. Instead, you have two options. The first one is to stand a little bit more to the back, in nest, next to snowman for example, so you could rotate more easily. And the second one, if you really want to, you could start at the yellow container, but if the enemies don't push within the first few seconds, go back a little bit and then hold B from the back. These few seconds really help with the rotate. Second tip, on the defender side, always keep an eye on middle unless you're 100% sure that all the enemies are pushing one side. The amount of times that I got killed by someone lurking from kitchen or middle is insane. But on the other hand, if you feel that the enemies aren't watching mid a lot, just lurk yourself to get some easy kills. Nice. And the last tip again about the lurk. If you decide to lurk all the way off the opposite side of where your team are pushing, it's very important to know when to run and to walk. Find a good balance. Just don't walk the whole way or you'll be too late. Timing is everything. Now it's time to talk about Bind. This map is actually pretty strange. Did you ever notice that there aren't a lot of spots on Bind where you have to fight for control? What do I mean? Well, if you take a map like Pearl for example, you can fight for mid control, art control, B-link control, even B-long control. But on Bind you don't really have these type of fights. On A short you basically spawn next to each other, taking control of B-long as the defender side almost has no advantages. The defenders can easily hold showers from the side, they don't really have to push in. So the only part where the defenders might go for control is hookah, but even that the defenders will hold from side most of the time. MrLowlander, cool info. But what can I do with it? What this means is that on the defender side, the timing of your smokes have to be on point. When you used all your smokes too early on A short for example, the enemies basically have a free pass to enter the side. I hope you understand the difference. On Pearl, if the enemies want to go from mid to B, you can first hold them on middle, then on B-link, then on B, and after that they are on spot. But on Bind, if you don't kill them before they enter A, they are already on spot. So it's extra important to use your util wisely. So, that was a complicated one. So let's do an easy one now. It's Bind. Some of you already saw it coming. You can do the teleporter trick. Simply throw something through the teleporter, the door open. Hey, you know the trick by now.
Oh, bro.
Eyes down.
This trick is also approved by the Lowlander plushie. Get yours with the link in the description. And the last trick combined, be careful with over-rotating. Because again, there aren't really parts in between to take control of. It often looks like if the enemies are already pushing on the other side. But with the teleporters, they can easily rotate back, so be careful of that. When you see 4 of your teammates on the side and nobody dies, there's literally no point for you to rotate. Stay on the side and you might catch the enemies if they go back. Like in this round.
Nice, TP. Coming to
They're going back there.
One
Nice.
dead.
Got him.
One enemy remaining.
And now it's time for Ascent. On Ascent, you have to keep in mind that the choke points on B and A are very small. This is the reason why it's not always smart to push with 5 people on one side. Try to go for some split pushes. When you get control over mid, you could easily split push A from 3 and A main. Like in this round, teammates are on A main, I was in 3 and KO did not expect me there.
Okay.
Nice.
Same thing for B by the way. It's less popular to split push, but oh so effective.
He's on
No
top.
bullets.
You fall
Careful.
Another tip is that you should stop blindly walking out of the smoke on catwalk. So many people are doing this and then it's a 1v5 on site and you will probably die. So always save a little bit of utility if you're about to peek catwalk. And one more tip on Ascent, it's about the door. Usually I've said that an unwritten rule was to close the door always when you enter in first. Well, this has changed, my friends. The new rule is the first one who doesn't have the spike has to close the door. So if you got the spike, just go to the side. But if you're the first one without the spike, then you have to close the door, my friends. Now the last map, Split. We didn't forget about you, Split. But actually, probably Split is gonna get a rework, so it's not really a point to give tips for you now. So Split, I promise, once you get re-released, I will make a video just about you. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you learned something today, and I see you guys in the next one. Peace.